Major League Baseball and the MLB trade deadline. The deadline is July 31st, yet there are 3 starting pitchers that are on the market right now and could potentially be traded. Now, I will go in order of importance and who I think can make the biggest impact on a playoff team that just needs that little push, Larry, stand up, Larry, little push. So the first one is the Texas Rangers global phenom, Darvish. It is tough for the Rangers. It's a tough call for the Rangers because he is a free agent after the season. He's arguably in the prime of his baseball career, and he brings so much to the table because of his stardom outside of the United States and also in. Pitching at a hitter's ballpark in Arlington, Texas, he has succeeded. Yet outside of America, known, of course, in Japan as a Japanese pitcher, he has that world icon feel and brings that many more sponsors to the Texas Rangers. Now, with him being a free agent after the season, there's a Japanese prospect right now that arguably could sign with the Texas Rangers if Darvish would stay. But here's the thing. His name is Shohei Ohtani. But here's the thing. If the Rangers were to say, well, what teams could we possibly trade him to? I'll tell you the teams that he can't be traded to via Ken Rosenthal, and this was a bombshell. The Boston Red Sox, the Chicago Cubs, the Baltimore Orioles, Cleveland Indians, the Colorado Rockies. Well, no shit. Like the Colorado Rockies are that team. The only reason that a starting pitcher or pitcher at all would go there is if the money was right and better than the other offers that other teams were giving. Unless your name is Mike Hampton and you're getting paid whatever it was, $130, $117 million for your contract to go pitch there, you don't go because your numbers are going to be bloated and you're not going to succeed. So, Colorado Rockies, duh. The rest of them, the Chicago White Sox, a little surprising. The Detroit Tigers, the Oakland Athletics, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Toronto Blue Jays. So now you're looking at that list, you're like, okay, he doesn't want to go to any of those places. Here are the places where he could go. Again, in his prime, great pitcher. The Houston Astros. Now, hang on a second. Some of you might be saying, Rick, it's a little incestual that the Houston Astros would acquire a divisional foe's prize like Darvish and the Texas Rangers. And to that I say, amen. But here's what I also say. These teams can do business. It's happened before. Doesn't happen often, but it's happened before. The Houston Astros last went to the World Series in 2005 when they lost to the Chicago White Sox. Very good. They had Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte, but still, Ozzie Guillen and company defeated the Houston Astros. They have not gone to the World Series since. They have never won the World Series in their 56 years of being a Major League Baseball franchise. They are there. They're a solid team with a good rotation. And just picture me this. You go into the playoffs, you need 3 starters, key starters. They would have Darvish, Dallas Keuchel, Lance McCullers. Ooh, tough out. The Astros would have to give up something. They have one of the best farm systems, a top 5 farm system in all of Major League Baseball. So the pot would be sweetened for the Houston Astros to make this deal. The question is, does John Daniels, the GM of the Texas Rangers, say, okay, we're going to do this, trade to a divisional foe, even though we're about 2.5 games, I want to say, outside of the wild card. So surprisingly, both teams are right there, but still, that's the question mark. The other teams that could be interested, and this is going to be a mainstay in every single season where the deadline is approaching, the New York Yankees, especially with Michael Pineda's injury. The other team that has a ton of cash and has a pretty good farm system as well and could send some minor leaguers over to the Texas Rangers is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are also there for this next pitcher, which is Sonny Gray. Now, here's the double-edged sword that Billy Beane and the Oakland A's are battling. The part that says trade him is that he was injured all of last year. I believe he went 5-11. His ERA was well over 5. So with that being said, and also with the injuries that he had last year, with lat strains and forearm strains. His entire arm is going to fall off. He has had so many injuries last year that it was good to see him bounce back this year, and he is looking like the Sonny Gray that we're accustomed to seeing. But from a Billy Beane perspective, on the pro side of trading him, you say, I don't know if he can remain healthy. I have to trade him at his peak. And once again, bouncing back from a horrible 2016, this could be his peak value. Now, the other side is, well, hang on a second. He's under control for 2 more years. It's a team-friendly deal. Let's not trade him. Let's hold on to him past this deadline, see what he does next year. If he's 100% healthy, he can be better than this season, and you could get that many more prospects and that better of a value next year. So that is the mindfuck that is not only within an organization, but specifically the front office and even more specifically a general manager. So does Billy Beane decide to pull the trigger on a Sonny Gray trade, or does he keep him and try to trade him next season? The teams that are interested in the 5'10" stout pitcher, the Washington Nationals. Now, the question is, you have Steven Strasburg. And we all know about Steven Strasburg with the laundry list of injuries that he has every single year, and he left his last start with arm stiffness. Do the Washington Nationals pull a trade for a starting pitcher like Sonny Gray, knowing that they already have an off-injured starting pitcher, starlet, yet off-injured starting pitcher like Steven Strasburg? I believe that this could happen. I don't know if it will. The reason it could happen is because they've already shored up their bullpen with Sean Doolittle. I believe the other name is Ryan Madsen. And what do you know? Mike Rizzo, the GM of the Washington Nationals, and Billy Beane, the GM of the Oakland A's, have a relationship. And I believe I saw the number that they've made 11 trades together. So the camaraderie is there. This could happen. But the question is, do the Nationals want to give up enough in order to get Sonny Gray, who could potentially be injured, and try to replace an injured pitcher with a potentially injured pitcher? The other question, the Los Angeles Dodgers, once again, but who do they give up remains to be seen. The Yankees are in there. Here's the dark horse for this pitcher, and the next pitcher I'll give you, and then I'll sign off, is the Milwaukee Brewers. Do they want to rent a player, or not a rent a player, do they want to trade for a pitcher who will be there for 2 years and will try to get them over the hump at a discounted rate from a price perspective, but not necessarily from a farm system perspective? So that's the question for the Milwaukee Brewers. The last pitcher, Justin Verlander. Oh, it is bittersweet to say goodbye. He is a Detroit Tigers legend. He is potential Hall of Famer, but his time is running out. In the next 2 years, he's getting paid, I believe, $7 million the rest of the way this season. For the next 2 years, he will get paid $28 million and $28 million, and then his contract is up. So what team could potentially take that up? The Chicago Cubs are one of those teams. Now, again, me as a biased Cubs fan, but also informative and also objective with all my teams, as I try to be. The Cubs could be in the running, but I say nay, and here's why. Kyle Hendricks is just coming back. They found a diamond in the rough in 2012 with the Ryan Dempster trade that landed them Kyle Hendricks, correct. So although he was injured and it took time for him to get up to game speed, which I don't believe he is at yet. I think that was a fly. I wasn't just like, ugh. I think that was a fly. Not up to game speed, but he did play a pivotal role in them winning the World Series last year, and the sky is the limit for him, and he's a youngin'. So I say for the Cubs, no. And also with the Detroit Tigers, aside from the one team that I'll give you last, they want some teams to take on a portion, if not half of the contract. Mainly half is what I saw from the Detroit Free Press. So what's another team that could afford that? The New York Yankees, but they're not going to take him, my opinion. The other team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, that have that Magic Johnson money, they have that Showtime money, they have that LA money. They could afford to take on Justin Verlander, but what will the price be that they take on in order to acquire him? I think he would work perfectly in that ballpark. The last team, two last teams, the Houston Astros are still there. Again, a bevy of talented top 50 prospects, according to Keith Law's list. The other team is the Milwaukee Brewers. And again, what would they take on, knowing that they have one of the lower payrolls in all of Major League Baseball? There's one more point to the Verlander talk that's important, and that is that if the Detroit Tigers wanted to make a move and trade away Justin Verlander to sweeten the pot, they would potentially throw in Ian Kinsler, who has not had the best season offensively. Defensively, he's always going to be in talks, in the conversation as a Gold Glove candidate, winning it previously. Of course, they acquired him from the Texas Rangers in the Prince Fielder trade, and we obviously know who won that because of longevity and the other retiring because of neck issues. But if they want to sweeten the deal with another team to not take on as much of the contract or to take on more of the contract and try and get more prospects in return, they will package those two in a deal. But the question is, and I leave it all to you, I'm throwing the alley, you got to open it. Leave me a thought in the comments section below. Who should go where and what team should acquire them? What should they give up? What would be a fair deal? What would not be a fair deal? Get at me in the comments section below. Let's keep this dialogue going. Get at me on Twitter, @RickStrom, and subscribe to TYT Sports.